right, guys, welcome back to another week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Kirk Smith, and my co-host and buddy,
Graham K. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Autastic. We are back. I know we've been doing them less for the summer, but, we have more to talk about each time we chit-chat. Kirk is on the high seas. I am in lovely Brooklyn, New York, where the weather is just phenomenal this time of year.
I know I'm missing the best month of the year weather-wise. Brutal.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. You are in the Caribbean somewhere, aren't you?
Alaska, close. We call it the Caribbean of the North. I was in Juneau, Alaska yesterday, and I was telling you this off air. I recognized somebody. There's a delay on here. Sorry, guys, if the timing seems off. But I recognized a fellow comic from a different ship on a different ship. I just said that in the same coffee shop with me. Very funny. Such a small world. Such a small world.
It's incredible. Yeah, no, that's so awesome when that happens. You're both. There's so many of us out there, and it's like a funny community.
It's a weird
and
fraternity.
It's great when you see a familiar face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, I was traveling recently, and I was in Ottawa.
Ooh.
My nation's capital. And it was great to be home. Just a quick little visit to see parents and see.
Nice.
That's right. You got that right. You got that right. I am saluting a picture of Justin Trudeau right now.
Not blackface Justin Trudeau, just so we're clear. Regular Justin Trudeau.
Brown face? It was brown face.
Sorry, brown face.
That's
Fair enough.
Yeah. Still bad, but anyway, so not great. But if out of the two, out of Trump and him, if you had to guess which one was going to be in brownface, dig up an old picture. You wouldn't think it would be.
That's a good point.
Just goes to show you.
But if you had to guess which one's going to be an orange
anywho,
face. All right, sorry, we just lost half our listeners. But
yeah, well,
just jokes,
we
people.
lost the
Just
pumpkin
jokes.
community.
Just jokes.
Yeah. Yes. So do our pumpkinites out there. You're a lovely historic culture. Anyway,
How's Peter doing?
I was back home Peter's doing pretty good. Still no job, but it's getting closer to the fall, and that is the time when his old job said they would have him back, so that's a possibility. I also went to, it just so happens that my little 3-day trip coincided with Live Work Plays. That's his special needs group that he's been with for 15 years. It was their first in-person function back since the pandemic started.
Ooh.
So they had a barbecue on the Canadian Football League field. Go Red Blacks, which is the name of a football
Blacks?
team. It is not a slur, believe it or not.
I was going to say, that just doesn't sound good.
Somehow, it is named after the actual colors, because our old team was the Ottawa Rough Riders, and they were red and black. But we had to change the name because there were two teams in an 8-team league with the same name. There was Saskatchewan Rough Riders and the Ottawa Rough Rider. That is true. And so
That's hard to believe.
The Rough Riders went out of business, and then they came back. There was as an expansion team. We decided not to keep the old name. So anyway, long story short, go Red Blacks. And we were on the football field. We had a barbecue. We saw his whole group. Peter introduced me to everybody. He was very proud. Every time I'm with him, he gets so proud. And I have to do a tour. My parents are an afterthought. My parents were there. They were sitting on the picnic table. They're chopped liver, But I get the full tour, and I meet everybody. He's especially the staff. He's especially proud to show me off to the staff and the volunteers, who are obviously all lovely. It was great to see Keenan Wheeler, who is I don't know, I think he's the president or something. Keenan and his wife Julie, the co-presidents of Live Work Play, or founders. And I see them once or twice a year, but I haven't seen them in almost 3 years, so it's great to see them, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see everybody. I made Peter hold the ball for me, and I tried to kick a field goal. You can watch it on my Instagram, see if I made it or missed. Spoiler, I missed. But I bribed him with beer. He was like, "Buy me a beer," and I was like, "You have to hold it for me." He's like, "Fine." He held the ball, and then I bought him a Stella.
Nice.
But it was fun. We were like passing the ball back and forth, and he like really. It was good. It was fun. He was smiling a lot. When my mom and I, Peter brought over his job coach, or the guy who like helps find him jobs, and my mom and I just wouldn't let him leave, and we're like giving him the riot act politely, and he was very polite, and but we were like, you got to do this, you got to say this, and if he says he won't work on weekends, you got to say no. And he's very politically correct, which is good, but it's also he's very Peter has agency over his own life, but it's also
right.
like it's like, but not really, kind of, but yes, but not really, but he doesn't always know what's best for him, and he can work weekends. He just doesn't understand the full scope of what that means. And of course, Peter and I have been on the phone and talked about how in an interview, don't say you won't work weekends. And I explained what Uber was. We've talked about this on this podcast.
Yep.
And Peter was like, yeah, good. So anyway, I'm like, I thought that was in the computer, Peter's brain. I thought that was, sometimes when you get stuff uploaded in his brain, it usually is pretty solid and stays there. But sometimes he kind of, placates me and
manipulates you. I like
says
it.
he will do something and does something else. Yes. And so he brings the job coach up, and then he's like, but no weekends. And I was like, oh, gosh, here we go again. So I told him not. Went through that whole thing again. But anyway, it was fine. It all worked out. And we had some dry burgers and some good hot dogs and a couple beers. And, yeah. Peter loves to perform. There was a loud megaphone, and he grabbed it and just started saying, "Hey, everybody! Hey, everybody!" Nothing, and he got everyone's attention. Had nothing to follow up.
No follow up to that. Just hello.
But he loves. Yeah. But it was fun for me to meet other siblings. There were some other siblings there that I had not met before. That sort of, as the parents age, they've sort of taken over responsibilities. And there's a special bond. And we might have one of them started an organization, and we're going to probably have one of them on the podcast to interview them later on in another episode. We got to figure out all that logistics and whatnot. But anyway, that was the trip to Ottawa. Peter's good. Went to the cottage. Went for a boat ride with Dad. And all in all, he's in good spirits.
I like it.
Love the kid.
I like it.
Yeah. So, Kirk, how's JJ doing?
He's good. I just got back from a week in Sweden. Well, it was a week ago, I guess I was there, and it was great. I wanted to catch the last week of. If you're gonna visit Sweden, just a little pro tip: go in August. Don't go in February.
Yeah.
August is the time to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to catch that last little bit of summer, and I try to go see him every 3 months. I try to do 4 a year, and so I'd been there in May, so I wanted to go in August. So yeah, I caught him the last week of August, first week of September, and my mom wanted to go, which is nice. He doesn't get a lot of visitors, so it's nice. It's nice to go. All these trips are always very emotionally loaded. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I bet.
yeah. He's just growing up, and he's like starting to lose his hair a little bit, which is cute, but also makes me feel like the time's just flying by, if that makes any sense. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it was good. I'm glad I went. And then we had a good trip. You know, he's my mom hadn't seen him in 2 years. She tries to see him every year, but COVID, it was tough with the testing stuff, and she just couldn't get over. And to her, it was like very clear, like, wow, he's really developing. Me and my mom stayed in an Airbnb on the island where he's at, and it had a lot of
Yeah.
the Airbnb had a lot of nice like trinkets and knickknacks and little. And there was a time when he would have dismantled absolutely everything, and then she was like, you know, are we sure he can come over here because he's gonna? And I'm like, no, I don't think he doesn't do that anymore. And so then, sure enough, when he
Right.
came over, he doesn't really destroy things like he used to, and it's really, yeah, it's. I think a third party like my mom saw very clearly how he's maturing and growing, and yeah, it's
Awesome.
very interesting.
Yeah. You see it through somebody else's eyes, and it really
Exactly.
highlights the progress that he's made, which is incredible.
Yeah.
That
So
must have
since
felt
she
good.
saw him, I've seen him probably 8 times. So it's like less. You know, I see him 4 times a year, and so it's less clear. I know he's progressing, but it's not as stark the changes. Yeah, it's good, and it's, you know, like a lot of things, it's a loaded, you know, thing. He's 23 and he doesn't have a job, and so we had the same conversations you had. I met with his social worker, and we,
Hmm.
you know, there's not a lot of work right now because, you know, COVID's still kind of messing things up, and we had kind of a stern, you know, yeah, we're being patient, but now we're 3 years in since high school, and it's time for me to get a job, and so it was good. It was a good, hard, you know. You know, I was talking to my
Yeah.
mom about this. When I go to see him, you know, it's my vacation in that, like, I'm not
Yeah.
working, I'm not getting paid. You know, in comedy we don't get 2 weeks vacation. You can take as much time as you want. You don't get paid,
No.
so do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I'm using my vacation time to fly over to Sweden to hang out and wrestle with him, and we have fun, but it's not really relaxing. You know, it's like
Hmm.
on this one, I think I flew in from, I was coming in from Galveston to Newark, no, to JFK to Sundsvall, or excuse me, to Stockholm, and then I took a 4-hour train up to Sundsvall. So it's just a long trip, and I'm not 30 anymore. And then,
No.
you know, the time change, and yeah, so it was. The
It's like
trips
one of
are a
those
little bit,
Indiana Jones travel maps, you know, and he's like, it shows the little dotted
yeah,
red line going over the map, and he takes a boat. It's just like,
yeah.
just long
Actually,
travel
now that I
day.
think about it, I flew in from I think, what was it, the Grand Cayman. So I started on a ship that day. I started on a ship to a tender, that's like a smaller ship, to a plane, to a Uber, to another plane, to a. So it's just like
Wow.
to a, you know, it's a long, and so
Oof.
yeah, but it was good. You know, so these are my vacations. You know, I'm taking 4 vacations a year and to go see him, and it's not super relaxing. It's like, it's, you know, it's a little stressful. And then he had a couple days. He had a couple good days and a couple hard days. You know, like always, like normal people. And you know, we did the
What are the
stand up. We
hard
went to
days?
IKEA. The hard days were like he doesn't want to listen, and he just, you know, has you know, testing boundaries. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we took him. I took him one day to the. My mom was feeling a little under the weather one of the days, so that day I took him to. It's like a water park, and there's an indoor water park in Sundsvall. So at the entrance, they've
Mm-hmm.
got ice cream, you know, popsicles for sale. So he marches over. He's been there before. I took him there last year. He marches over to the ice cream thing, grabs what he wants. Like, doesn't ask, and marches it over the cashier. So I'm like, all right, so you know, you can have one ice cream, and then we go to the water park, and then inside the water park. Water park's a strong word. They have a lazy river. They've got 2 pools, but you know, it's like a small, you know. Well, then they have a cafe inside, which also has ice cream. So, you know, 3 laps around the lazy pool. We've been there 30 minutes. He wants another ice cream,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't just get you ice cream, you know, every hour. It's not healthy. You know, I don't. It's not even a money
But I
thing.
did a lap.
I just can't. We did a couple laps. Yeah, we did a couple laps,
Um,
and And so then he gets a little, grumpy and yells, and he's nonverbal really. So when he's upset, it's not like, Dad, give me ice cream. It's just a giant man, hairy man who looks like a big Turkish man, just like, "Rah," yelling. And then another twink looking man, me, just standing with him. We're not getting any more ice cream. So it's not great. It's not his fault, but I feel like, I made a
Yeah.
big effort to come here. Just be cool. Hang out. Let's just go down the slides a few times. You're going to get plenty of ice cream. You don't have to, we don't have to get ice cream every. Yeah. So that stuff's hard for me emotionally because it makes me feel like
Yeah.
less that he loves me and more that he just wants ice cream, which I know isn't true, but that's just how it makes me feel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
So,
I think
so
that's
those days
normal.
are hard. Yeah, those
I'm
days
sure
are hard.
that sounds hard.
But
It sounds very hard. I think those feelings are normal, but as long as you can step back and realize the true context of it, like you are doing. Yeah,
yeah, it
it's
was nice
tough.
to have my mom there. I don't usually have my mom there, so it's nice to bounce it
Yeah,
off
you got a
her.
partner in
And,
crime. Yeah.
yeah, she feels like I'm her son, so she feels like, oh, you're a great father, which I don't know if I am that, but I'm doing my best. Honestly, I'm doing my absolute
You
best. So
are.
it's like,
You are a great
so
father.
yeah. Anyway,
You're making
so it's nice to have her there.
he is safe, loved, housed, clothed, fed. He's a, and you see him a lot. It's
That car that longtime listeners know that we bought, he loves that car. That little blue, that little rally car, that little Suzuki Swift. He loves it. They use it, a
yeah,
few times a week. Yeah, it's great. Still running. It's 2 years now, so it's great.
that's
Um,
awesome.
we fa- we found him a new horse. So there was a horse that he really liked that died.
Yeah.
That like things
Oh,
do.
I didn't know
And
that.
yeah. So then we got him a new horse. No, not we got him a new horse. We found another owner of a horse who said yes, he can come visit him once a week, which isn't the same as buying a horse, but yeah. And
Aha.
then he did not connect with this horse. He didn't. They just didn't. He didn't. He was a little nervous around him and scared, and he didn't like him. Which is
Mhm.
funny because you would think like, that's a horse. What do you care? I don't know. But he could not
Yeah.
connect with this horse, and so they've tried that new horse for 6 months now. And so then this week we found another horse that, and these are old, these aren't racing horses. This is somebody's horse that's in a field in the north of Sweden. But another old horse that he likes, and so we're
Mhm.
excited. Yeah, another little. Horses are the few times that he'll talk. He used to. We tried. He's had horse therapy, whatever it's called, for at least 15 years. And on a horse, he'll say walk on, or he'll give little commands. He'll say whoa, he'll say, which is hard to get him to do
Wow.
any other time. Yeah.
Wow. And he rides the horse?
Isn't that funny? Yeah, he rides the horse. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's
That's
Sweden, so he
so
has like a full
interesting.
helmet.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very safe.
That's great. That's really good news.
Um,
Big update this
yeah,
week.
it was a big trip. It was fun. It was out there a week. If you're curious what he looks like, I posted a video on my Instagram of the trip and of us wrestling on the ground, and it's funny, but from that angle you can see that his hair's thinning, which is really funny. I'm not making fun of him funny. It's just funny, like it's just weird how life just keeps marching on. And he's growing
Yeah.
up. He's like, yeah, he's not a little kid, he's a man. And
Yeah, that must be wild. For any dad.
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
Um and
But
was your
what else did we
mom
do?
so your mom
We had a lot of
was,
trips to
was-
IKEA.
Do you
Go ahead,
think
my
that
mom was what?
he recognized your mom?
I don't know. She always asks me that, and I can't. Towards the end, he kind of warmed to her and like put his arm around her, and it's hard to know. It's hard to know
Yeah.
what he knows, but we took him to
What-
like the first time we took him to IKEA on this trip. I
Yeah.
mean, I got a meal, I got her a meal, I got JJ a meal, and then I got a fourth meal because I told her, I'm like, last time I was here, he ate all of my food, and then I had to go back in line, and and she's like, are you sure? It seems like a lot. And in Sweden, they've got two kinds of vegetarian meatballs. They've got I don't understand the difference, but one's like wheat based and one's vegetable based or something. So it worked out to 45 meatballs because it was it was two 12s and 3/8. Is that right? 2 12s and 3/8. Yeah, something like that. So 48 meatballs. And me and my mom ate 6 each. He ate 30 something. He ate 30 vegetable meatballs, but it's just vegetable. And then and the other thing is, it's just be encouraged if you're out there and you've got a young little guy, because he used to grab everything with his hands, dip it in the ketchup, each time wipe his hands on his shirt, back to the ketchup. So every meal it would be like, it looks like he's been in a shooting. It's just covered in ketchup. And now he's wearing a button-up shirt, and he's with his little fork, no ketchup on his shirt. No, he had one little corner of his mouth had a little ketchup. And I told him to wipe it. He wiped it. It's just,
wow.
It was encouraging the progress he's making. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Did your mother say anything else like that?
Yeah,
was
she
noteworthy?
she was shocked about that. She was like, I can't believe, because she hasn't seen him in 2 years, and I feel like he gets a little bit better every time. So I kind of forget. It is funny how your mind forgets. Like we talked about this in comedy. Like at the beginning of comedy, you're like, if I could do 20 minutes, and then you do 20 minutes. If I could do an hour, and then you do an hour. If I could make a living, and then you make a living. If I could do this, every time you do something, like, well, it's not that good. It's this and that. But yeah, I mean, you're making a living doing comedy. You're buying houses and cars, and I don't know. So it's like, it is funny how it's not. We forget how far we've come. So with him, we've really come a long way. For him just to be able to take him to a restaurant, him eat, not rub it everywhere, not scream, not steal food off other people's plates, all that stuff.
Wow.
And by other people, I mean strangers, not me.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, Peter's gotten a lot better as well. He was never... he was sort of like that when we were young, like when he was like 10, but he hasn't been like that in a while. But even since in the past 10 years, he's just gotten a lot. It's not stressful anymore to bring him out. When he was a teenager, it was stressful.
Exactly.
When I was growing up, it was stressful
Exactly,
to be in public, and it's like barely stressful at all now. Just sometimes, I'll watch him walk up to somebody and start talking. I'll be like, oh boy.
But if it helps you, I watch my mom walk up to people and sometimes talk to them like, oh no, what is she gonna say? So.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm joking, Mom. I know you listen to this. I'm just playing with you.
Yeah.
Just teasing.
But that's great.
No,
That sounds like a real. That's a great update.
It was a good trip. Like another really thing that this sounds like a silly update, but if you have a son as disabled as mine, you parents out there, you know what I'm talking about. After IKEA, the restaurant, we walk around the whole downstairs. We do a lap. I used to make him do the lap because I think it's good exercise and he's hard to make him walk, but he'll walk through IKEA.
Mm-hmm.
So we would do the upstairs, the downstairs, which is a good, 15-minute walk, 10, 20-minute walk, I don't know. And then at the end, he can pick out something from they have that little, I don't know when's the last time we went to IKEA, Graham, but they've got the little marketplace, whatever. They've got Swedish candies and jellies and drinks. And so, he'll want to pick out 5 things. And then, the last, however many years, we'll be like, nah, you can pick one thing. Pick whatever you want. You get one thing. Look around. One thing. So then he'll pick up the chips, and then he'll pick up the candy. And then if he picks up the candy, I put the chips back. Nope, you can have the candy. Then he'll grab the chips. Okay, then put the candy back. You can have one thing. Because it's not even the things cost $1 or $2. It's it's IKEA. It's not expensive, but you can't just come into everywhere and get 6 bags of candy. That's not great. That's not the healthiest thing ever.
No.
And the thing is, he'll eat the bag of candy before we get home. Like he hasn't just eaten 30 meatballs in a row. I watched you eat the meatballs. You can't be hungry. Oh, it's so funny. But it was good. It was a good trip. He's really settling into his place. We're working on finding him a job. He likes the horse. He likes the car. So I'm going to go back in end of November, early December again. It'll be 3 months for his birthday. If you guys want to start thinking about birthday cards, we did that one year. That was fun. If you want to send him a birthday card, I know he liked getting those. And yeah. Did we do mostly an update this episode?
I think we did a great update this episode. You ready to do the article?
Great. Do we have time? What are we at? I can't see my time.
We got time.
We have time to do an article? All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
You want me to read it?
Sure, unless you want me to.
Nah, I got it.
You found it.
Unless you wanted to. This is in
Go for it.
neuroscience, but I saw this in several places, which is always I always like it when I can find it in multiple places, just to like confirm that it's not a misunderstanding. Anti-diarrhea medication may help treat core autism syndromes. Summary: Lopramidine, a common anti-diarrhea medication, may help treat core symptoms associated with autism spectrum disorder. The drug activates the U-opioid receptor, helping to improve social behaviors. Can you teach an old drug new tricks? Although I will say, a lot of drugs are like this, right? Like Viagra was originally developed for something else, blood pressure or something, and then they figured out that it had this side effect. There's a lot of things that are developed for something else, and then they figure out,
Well, my hair
this
pills
could also
are
be treated for this.
my hair pills. Finasteride is for your heart initially, but
Really?
they figured out that it just makes people grow hair. So like, all right.
Yeah, don't give any to JJ. He's got plenty of body hair. Yeah, he's a hairy little man. Here we go. All the drug treatments for the core symptoms of autism spectrum disorder are not currently Can you teach it? Although drug treatments for the core symptoms of autism spectrum disorder (ASD) are not currently available, could an existing drug provide a new treatment, even if it previously had no association with ASD? This is a question asked by a new study in the journal Frontiers in Pharmacology. I'm going to struggle with that word. There we go. The researchers used a computer model that encompassed proteins involved in ASD and the way they interact. By looking at how different drugs affected proteins in the system, they identified potential candidates to treat it. A commonly used anti-diarrhea drug called Lopramidine, was the most promising candidate, and researchers have an interesting hypothesis about how it may work to treat ASD symptoms. Some of the most common symptoms in ASD involve difficulties with social interactions and communication. There's no medications currently approved for treatment of social communication deficit, the main symptom of ASD, said Dr. Els Koch of the University of Oslo, lead author of the study. However, most adults and about half of children and adolescents with ASD are treated with antipsychotic drugs, which have serious side effects and lack efficiency in ASD. So my son is treated with an antipsychotic mild dose that works as a mood stabilizer. This is obviously not in the article. This is Kirk speaking. It works as a mood stabilizer, and we've talked about this a few times, but in my opinion, it's been great. It's really worked. His mood he's definitely calmer, less stressed. And when I asked the doctor, I'm like, I'm concerned about him taking an antipsychotic, in case it has side effects that, he starts hearing voices or something. And he goes, yeah, well, I prescribe it to, thousands of my patients. And I was like, thousands? So that made me feel, better. This isn't like some random thing. This is something they've tried for a while. Anyway, repurposing drugs for new treatments. In an effort to find a new way to treat ASD, the researchers turned to drug repurposing, which involves exploring existing drugs as potential treatments for different conditions. The approach has plenty of benefits, as there's often extensive knowledge about existing drugs in terms of their safety, side effects, and their biological molecules that interact with the body. To identify new treatments for ASD, the researchers used a computer-based protein interaction network. Such networks encompass proteins and the complex interactions between them. It's important to account for this complexity when studying biological systems, as affecting one protein can often have a knock-on effect elsewhere. The researchers constructed a protein interaction network that included proteins associated with ASD. By investigating existing drugs and their interaction with proteins in the network, the team identified several candidates that counteract biological processes underlying ASD. The most promising drug is called Lopramidine, however I said it the first 3 times, which is commonly used for diarrhea. While it might seem strange that an anti-diarrhea drug could treat core ASD symptoms, the researchers have developed a hypothesis about how it may work. Lopramide binds to and activates a protein called the opioid receptor, which is normally affected by opioid drugs, such as morphine, along with the effects that you would normally expect from an opioid drug, such as patient relief. The opioid receptor also affects social behavior. Just lost a headphone. I'm going to continue to read. The previous studies.
Muscle through.
I'm trying. The previous studies, genetically engineered mice that lack the opioid receptor, demonstrated social deficits similar to those seen in ASD. Interestingly, drugs that activate the opioid receptor help to restore social behaviors. These results in mice highlight the tantalizing possibility that lopamidine and other drugs that target the opioid receptor may represent a new way to treat social symptoms presented in ASD, but further work is required to test this hypothesis. In any case, the current study demonstrates the power of assuming that old drugs may indeed learn new tricks. This was in Science
Very
News,
good, Kirk.
and it was also in thanks, man. In The Print, which is a publication online. What do you think about this?
Well, it's just encouraging. Always encouraging to have new stuff out there. Guys, I will say this. Peter has, I know I've mentioned this before, but Peter is on an antidepressant drug, mood stabilizer, and it has definitely worked for him as well. But I think we did it. That's another episode. You can find me at Mr. Graham K. And also follow me. If you watch YouTube videos, I'm coming out with a new comedy special. It is going to be not safe for work, FYI, but I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube page. Special is going to be coming out in a couple weeks here, and my YouTube page is youtube.com/Graham K Comedy. youtube.com/Graham K Comedy. Hit the old follow button. That would help me very much. And then when it comes out, you can give it a thumbs up and say this guy's good in the comments, and that really helps the old algorithm and help my life quite a bit. That's all I got. You guys are wonderful, Kirk. What can the people do for you?
Yeah, same. If you could have me on YouTube, that'd be great. Kirk Smith Comedy, or Facebook. I'm doing a big Facebook push. I know a lot of people still use Facebook. If you could add me on Facebook, Kirk Smith Comedy. I've got videos coming out every day. I appreciate your support, guys. That's it. Have a great week, guys. You can do it.